Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well and welcome back to another tutorial. So in this one we are going to look at how we can create this main menu for our projects. Here I have set up this background and these animations using free assets in Marketplace, and also we have this settings menu which is completely functional. For example, here you can change the quality of the game, and as you can see it will transform how your game looks with only a simple and easy to set up system. Here we have these buttons, these text which have animations, and also this animation for the settings menu. I have also changed the mouse cursor, and as you can see it's not the default cursor, it's a customized one which can help your UI look even more professional. This is not hard at all and you can set this up easily. Just follow this tutorial and I'll explain step by step how you can create these menus, these animations, and how to make the options functional. So without further ado, let's jump right in and see how it's done. Okay, first let's talk about how we want to set up our project. Here I have opened up a first person template and I have not changed anything here. I just made a new folder and name it UI assets. Here I'm going to add all of my assets so you are able to follow the tutorial easier and see what's happening. How I want to set this up is that I want to have a main menu labeled, and inside it I wanna throw in all the widgets and the background and the animations. So here I'll right click, create a label and name it main menu. It's a blank label and there's absolutely nothing inside it. Here we wanna set up a background, set up a camera, light the scene, and this will function as the background of our main menu. Here you can just add some basic assets. For example, you can add a plane and then add a directional light, add a skylight, and also add a height file. Then add a sky atmosphere and light up the scene. Let's also add a cube here. I'm going to scale this plane to, for example, 10, 10, and 10, and then add a camera to the level. Let's go to the camera view, and this is going to be our background. The widgets will appear on top of this image, and here we are going to have the main menu, and here we are going to add the settings menu. For the background you can do a lot of things. For example, you can add your third person character to the scene and go for a studio lighting. You can just add a simple image, or in our case you can add an environment and add animations and make it much more beautiful and professional. Here I want to go for a sci-fi look, so I'm going to use some sci-fi assets from the marketplace, and I'm going to also use a character to make it much more interesting. Here I'm in the Epic Games launcher, and for the background I'm going to use this Polar Sci-Fi facility. This is a free asset in the marketplace and it is a very decent project. So just search for Polar Sci-Fi facility and download it and add it to your project. For my character also I'm using this Paragon Murdoch or Murdoch, I don't know how it's pronounced, but it's a very beautiful character. It has a lot of skins, it has a lot of amazing animations, and it's a very valuable asset. The Paragon characters are all decent assets, and you can use them in your projects. Here just search for a Paragon, and you can use all of these beautiful characters for free. So choose whatever you like, download it, and add it to your project. Alright, this is the Polar Facility project. So open it up, go to the maps, and for example, let's open this one. And this is how it looks. It's a decent facility, and it has a lot of details. It has an exterior, particle effects, decals, and a lot of objects and assets. You can use this as it is, but I prefer to clean it up and make it a little lighter. I also want to change the lighting, so I'm gonna change how it looks a little, and then use this as our background. I don't want to go over how I'm going to change this because it's not an environment design tutorial, but I'm not going to do much. I'm just going to delete all the exterior assets, a couple of these particles, and I'm going to put my camera here, so I don't need these models and rooms here, so I'm going to delete these as well. Feel free to set it up as you like and make it optimized and clean to be able to use it easily in the main menu level. Alright, this is what I came up with. I deleted all the unnecessary stuff, and this is all left. Here I have the assets, and for the lighting I have a couple of lights to light up the interior, and it looks like this. Just drag a couple of point lights into the scene and light it as you like. I also added this steam particle in the background to make it a little more interesting, and I changed the name of my camera to UI camera. This is also my camera view, and now as you can see, we have a very decent background for main menu. For your camera, you have a couple of settings that enable you to make your image even more interesting. For example, you can add some bloom to your image, or you can add a little bit of a vignette and make the edges a little darker. Feel free to play with these settings and make it look as you like. Okay, now the final part of our setting our environment is to add the character. So let's get out of this camera view, and here open up our Paragon character, go to the characters, heroes, Murdoch, animations, and drag in one of these animations to your level. I'm going to use the ideal A animation, but feel free to explore these animations and maybe use one of these goofy animations here. Okay, now let's go back to the camera view and see how it looks. And yeah, as you can see, we have a very interesting background for our main menu. Now we are ready to create the widget and add it to the screen. So let's start the next part of this tutorial. Alright, first let's create the main menu. So go into the UI assets folder, right click and create a widget blueprint. its user widget, name it main menu, and open it up. Here we are able to design our UI and add all the UI elements from this palette tab here, and then here in the graph editor we are able to code and program our UI. So first, in the designer mode, let's add a canvas panel to frame our UI and set it on 1920 by 1080. Next, I'm going to add a grid panel. This enables us to manage all the elements in the UI more efficiently, but without it you can add the buttons and the text too, but having this will help us make the animations much more efficient and easier to control. Here you can add columns and rows to the grid. This grid panel will actually create a grid for you, and you can control all these children based on the grid you make. So for example, here if you add 2 columns and 2 rows and define the percentage here, let's go with 50% for each. You will have a 2 by 2 grid here, and for example, if you add a button to the grid panel, you can control it like this. Here in our case, we want the grid panel to cover our canvas panel. So first, let's anchor it to the canvas panel like this, and also zero out all these offsets here so it fills the canvas panel entirely. Now I want to have 2 columns and 1 row. So let's delete these rows, create only 1 and set it on 100%. Now, for example, if I add a button, you can see that I only have 2 columns and 1 row. This way I separate my screen, and to the left I have my main menu and to the right I have the character. Alright, now let's delete this button and start creating our main menu. We want to add a couple of items to the main menu. For example, we need a text, we need a line, we need 4 buttons, and we need to add all of these into a canvas panel. We cannot add them to the grid panel and control them easily. So I'm going to search for canvas panel, add it to the grid panel, and my canvas will cover the left side of my grid. Now I can add everything I want to this canvas panel and manage it easily. Make sure your canvas panel is aligned like this. We want to fill it horizontally and also fill it vertically to cover all the left side of the grid. The first thing I need here is the name of the game. So let's drag a text on our canvas panel and then anchor it to the left side of the screen. Then adjust the placement. For example, let's put it here, and also bump up the size. In order to do that, just go to the appearance tab, and in the font section just bump up the size. For example, let's go with 100. Here you can choose your font family. For example, let's go with this coalition font, which I found in Google Fonts, but feel free to use any font that you like. Actually, I'm gonna decrease the size to 80 so it fills the left side of my screen and doesn't go here. Here you can change the content of your text. We wanna put in the name of the game, so let's name it, for example, Coalition. This is actually the name of the font, but I think it's a cool name, so I'm gonna use it for the game as well. Next, I want to have a line below my text, so it separates the name of the game and the other buttons below it. So here, drag an image on your canvas panel, anchor it to the left side of the screen like this, and then adjust it. Okay, good. Now we need to add the buttons. Here we can drag buttons and copy and place them on top of each other, but a better way to do it is to use a vertical box. So search for vertical box, drag it on the canvas panel, anchor it to the left side of the screen and place it here. What this does is that it helps us manage everything that we put inside it, and we no longer need to adjust the placement of the buttons and the text by hand. So if I add buttons to the vertical box, you can see that it will place them automatically, and it helps us to keep everything organized. So here I want to have 4 buttons. So actually before adding the button, let's add the text on top of the button, and then after that I'm going to copy my buttons. So drag text, and let's bump up the size of the text. For example, go with 40, align it like this so it's at the left side of the screen. And now I can just duplicate my button. But here what I want to do is to set the opacity of the button on 0, so we no longer see the button and we only see the text. So here you can just go to the background color of your button and set the alpha on 0. Now we have the button and we can utilize it and define some events for it, but it's invisible, which looks much better in my opinion. Now what I want to do is to have 3 other buttons other than this one. So just select the button and duplicate it 3 times. Alright, now let's change the content of the text. The first one is going to be a new game. So let's type new game and also change the font. Again, I'm going to use the coalition font. So yeah, it looks much better now. The next one is going to be settings. This will be, for example, credits, and this is quit game. Okay, now we can do some adjustments. First of all, let's drag this vertical box to the left side of the screen so this aligns with our main text here. Next, I want to increase the space between the buttons. So I'm going to select the text, and here in the padding, just add some padding on the top and the bottom of the text. So let's go with 10 and 10. The next thing I want to do is to remove this extra space here in the button. So here I'm going to select the button, and again in the padding, add some padding to the right side of the button. Let's go with 500. It was too much. 250 or 260. 270, 240. Yeah, that's good. So yeah, do this padding to make it fit the text. Again, for the settings, go with 260 or 90 or 340, 320. Yes, 320 is good. For the credits, 350, and for the quit, 500. Amazing. Okay, the next thing I'm gonna do is to make them a little smaller. I think they are too big compared to this main text, so select them all, and here in the appearance font, just decrease the font size to 35 or even 30. The next thing I want to do is to add some animations to these buttons, but before that, let's just add the widget we made to the screen and see how it looks. In order to do that, first we need to possess the camera that we made here. Now if we just play the game, you can see that the default camera will be possessed, and you're also able to move around in the scene, which is not what we want. So just let's go back to the camera view, and then in order to possess this camera and keep this camera view, we need to go to the level blueprint, add an event begin play, add a get player controller node, and then search for set target view with set view target with blend. Yeah, this is what we need. I'll connect the event begin play to the function, and next we need to assign our camera into this new view target input. So let's drag our UI camera into the event graph and plug it in. Now you can see that when I play the game, my UI camera is possessed, and I have this camera view for my main menu level. Here what is happening is that the default camera actor is floating around in the air, and I can control it with WASD. In order to deactivate that, just go to the main menu level blueprint, and here set input mode UI only. Connect the get player controller, and now giving inputs other than the UI is deactivated, and I don't have the floating sphere anymore. Okay, the next step is to add the widget we made to the screen. So here, drag off a wire, search for create widget, and then here in the class section, choose the widget we made. This main menu is the widget we made, so select it, and next add it to the viewport. Connect the return value to the target, and now we should see our main menu on top of our screen. Yeah, it's looking pretty great. And another thing we need to do is to activate our mouse cursor. Here when we play the game and go into the game, we don't have the mouse cursor anymore. So here just drag off a wire and set show mouse cursor and turn this on. For the target, we need this get player controller. So let's copy and paste and plug it in. Now you can see that my cursor is visible, and I can select my buttons using the mouse cursor. The next thing I want to do is to add a blurring effect to the background of my UI. So here search for background blur and drag it on top of this canvas panel here. Let's anchor it like this so it covers the whole area, and zero out all of these offsets. Now here in the blur strength, let's bump up the strength to, for example, 4. And in order to make it go back, you need to put it on top of our canvas panel here. In the hierarchy, the order is from bottom to top, meaning that when you have something at the bottom of the hierarchy, it's on top of the other elements here. So if you want to make it go back, you need to put it on top here. Alright, now here let's see how it looks. Yeah, here as you can see we have a blur, and you're able to make your text pop up using this blur effect. You can of course play with the strength, and for example if I put it on 9, you can see that I have a much stronger blur here. But here in this case I think 4 was good, so let's put it back on 4 and continue. Alright, the next stage is to animate these buttons here. I want to make them a little smaller when I hover my mouse on top of them, and also change the color. So in order to do that, I need to make some animations for these buttons here. Okay, let's create an animation and name it hover 1. By the way, if you don't have this animation window here, just go to the window and select animation. Let's spell it properly, and now you can see that we have an animation, and here we can add tracks to our new animation. I want to add an animation to this text here, so select hover 1, then select the text, and here hit track. Now you can see that I can choose this text here. Select it, and next we want to add a color and opacity to change the color, and also a transform to change the scale. For the color we want to go from white to a light blue. So here just select this track here, hit this to add a key, and put this on 0.05, change the color to whatever you like, and add a keyframe. Now you can see that I have this animation, and it goes from white to blue in a very short period of time. You can just control this and, for example, make it a little longer to be able to see the animation easier. Alright, let's also save this color here. In order to save your colors, you can just drag this here, and when you want to add the color to the other text, you can just use the exact color you used for your new game option. Hit OK, and now we are good to go. Just add the transform, which is going from 1 to 0.9. So here add the keyframe, then go to 0.1, and for the scale set the X and Y value on 0.9 and add a keyframe. Now you can see that I have the color transformation and also the scaling down effect at the same time. Alright, now we have our animation and we want to play it when our cursor is hovered on the button. So select the button and here scroll down to Events tab. If you don't have this, make sure this option is checked. You need to make it a variable to be able to define events for it. So here click on unhovered and we need to play the animation here. So let me delete this and start from scratch to show you guys how it's done. Just you need to search for play animation function and drag the animation you made and plug it in the animation. What's happening here is that when our cursor is hovered on the button, the animation we made will be played. It's very simple and easy to understand. Just play and you can see that when I hover my mouse, the animation is played. But when I unhover the cursor, nothing happens. We need to play the animation in reverse to make it back on its default settings. So go back to the designer and then here define an event for unhovered. Again, play the animation, but this time we need to play it in reverse. So change the play mode on reverse, plug the animation, and you're good to go. Compile and play, and you can see it's working perfectly. We can also add sound effects to the buttons to make them even more interesting. Just select the button and here in the appearance tab and in style, you have these pressed sound and hover sound options. For the pressed sound, I'm going to use this click on button cue. And for the hovered sound, I'm going to use this flashlight switch sound. Compile and play. Now you can hear the sound effects. Alright, now we need to repeat the same process for these settings, these credits, and this quit button here. But we don't need to make the animations for each of these buttons from scratch. We can just duplicate this hover animation and replace the text with our new text. Just select your hover 1, hit Ctrl D to duplicate it and name it hover 2. Repeat and create hover 3 and also hover 4. Now for hover 2 we want to assign the animation to this settings button. We can just select this and replace our text with our new text, which in this case is called text block. Here is the name of this text block here. So when you select it and right click on this, you can replace it with your new text. Now you can see that I have the animation for this as well. Again, for the credits, just select hover 3, select this text block, select the text for the credits, which is named text block underscore 1, and right click and replace it. Play the animation to make sure it's working correctly and then repeat the same for this quit option. Alright, now we need to play the animations for the buttons. Just select the button, add an unhovered and unhovered event and play the animation. just copy these functions here, and this time we want to play the animation hover 2. So drag it, connect it to the animations, and we need to play the animation when the cursor is hovered, and we need to play the animation in reverse when it's unhovered. So plug it like this and we are good to go. I'm gonna do this for the 2 buttons as well. Just select the button and add the events. This time we are going to use hover 3. And finally, for the quit option, we are going to use hover 4. Alright, now everything is set and let's test it. Yeah, they are working fine, and now we need to add the sound effects too. So just go to the designer, select the buttons, and here in the appearance, just add the sound effects. You can also just copy and paste the sound assets here. Just right click, copy, and here paste it. Again, for the hover sound, right click, copy, and paste. Alright, now we have the sound effects, the animation, and everything is working perfectly. The next step is to program these buttons, so when we click this new game, we open up a new level. When we play these settings, we open a new widget and get access to the settings. For the credits, we can add some text to show the credits of the game, and for the quit, we need to call a quit game function. So just select the button and here add an event for unclicked. Then we just wanna open level by object reference, and here you can select a level that you want to go to. For example, let's choose first person map, and now when I hit the button, I go to the first person level. The thing here is that I can't give input in this level because we set our input mode on UI only. So here, after we open the level, we want to set input mode back on game mode. So search for set input mode and set it on game only. Here add the get player controller, and now we should be able to give input to our first person character. Alright, next for quit, we should add a quit game function. So on clicked, search for quit game, and that's it. Now if I hit quit, I can get out of the game. Okay, the next thing I want to do is to create an animation for this whole canvas here. I want to make a transition from outside of the canvas into its place. So here, select your grid panel and put it somewhere out of your main canvas. For example, -100, -1000. And then we want to make an animation and move it back to its place. So here, create an animation and name it main menu animation. Then keep the grid panel selected, and here create a track for the grid panel, and then go for transform. Here in the translation, go for the X value and add a key, and next, after, for example, 1 second, put it back to its place, which is 1000. Now you can see that it's sliding into the main canvas panel. Okay, now in order to play it, we wanna go to the graph, and here we have an event construct. Just drag off a wire and play the animation. What this means is that every time the widget is constructed, we can see the animation we made. Let's compile and play. Now you can see that we have this animation. Okay, the final step is to create a widget for our settings menu and then connect it to our main menu widget. So let's go back to our UI assets folder and create a new widget. Let's name it settings and open it up. Again, we are going to repeat the same thing we did for our main menu. First, we need a canvas panel. Put it on 1920 by 1080 and then add a grid panel. The grid panel is the same. We want it to have 2 columns and 1 row. So first let's anchor it like this and zero out the offsets, and then create 2 columns 50% each and 1 row which is 100%. Next we need a canvas panel for the right side of the grid, so make sure it's a child to the grid and then put it on the right side. Next, search for background blur and add it to the canvas panel. Let's bump up the strength to 5. Again, make sure the background blur is a child to this canvas panel. So first let's anchor it properly, zero out the offsets, and now we have it right. The next thing we need is a text, so search for text, add it to the canvas panel and anchor it to the right side of the screen. Put it somewhere here and scale it up. I'm going with our coalition font, and maybe first let's change the text to settings and place it properly. Alright, amazing. The next thing we need is a vertical box, so search for vertical box and add it to the canvas panel. I wanna anchor it like this and put it here. We want to have 4 settings for our project. We want to have a player name, a gamma, a quality, and a difficulty, and also a back button. So we basically need 5 rows here, and our rows have 2 columns. So in order to manage them easily, we need to add a horizontal box here. So search for horizontal box and add it to the vertical box. Then search for text and add the text on top of your horizontal box. Now here we have the text, and here at the right side we can have our drop-down menus or text boxes. Let's change the font to the coalition font and then add a little bit of padding on the top and on the bottom. Alright, it's looking good, and now we can duplicate the button. So here select the horizontal box and hit Ctrl D to duplicate it. Duplicate it 4 times and then start changing the text. The first one is player name. Next we have gamma. Next we have difficulty, and then we have quality. The final one is back, and we also need a little bit of space between our back button and the others. So select the button and here add a padding on the top. Okay, now for the player name we need a text box. So here search for text box and drag it on the horizontal box here. Hit fill and then add a little padding to the top and to the bottom. We can also add paddings to the right and left. For example, let's make a little space to the left side and also add a hint text here. Here we can input enter player name, and also for the text let's set player 1. Let's also change the background color to a darker one so it's easier to read the text here. Alright, good. Now for the gamma we need a slider. So search for slider and add it here. Again, set it on fill and add some padding to the left side and also the right side. Let's set the value on 0.5 so it's at the middle, and you can also play with its color and it looks, but here I'm just gonna go with this default style. Next, for the difficulty we need a drop down menu. So here search for combo box string and add it here. Set it on fill, add the paddings, and then add the options. Just add 4 options. Index 0 is easy. Next we have medium. Next we have hard, and then veteran. The selected option can be set on hard. Hit compile and now you can see your options here. Here you can change the foreground color. For example, let's set it on our blue color that we saved before, and also make this gray area a little darker so it's easier to see. Go to style, then in your button style you can change the tint in the normal tab. Just go with a dark color and hit OK. Alright, for the quality we also need a combo box, so just duplicate this combo box and put it inside this quality horizontal box. Let's adjust the padding. So it matches with the other, and then change the options to low, medium, high, and ultra, and set the default value on high. Okay, here I want to do some adjustments. First I want to add these dots in front of my text, so just select them and add this to the text content. Next I want to align them like each other, so just select this and add the padding. Okay, it looks good enough. Let's add it to our screen and see how it looks so far. Just go to your level blueprint, and here in this create widget function, change the class to settings. Now you can see that we have the widget and it looks very good, and we are ready to continue. Here we have this text box in which we can enter the name of the player. Here we have these drop down menus, and here we have this back button. The thing we have to do is to first program this button, so when we click it, this widget goes away and our main menu comes back. We also wanna set these quality options on our graph, so we can change the quality of the game by changing these options here. In order to make these quality options work, just select the combo box and add an event on selection changed. Here drag off a wire and search for string, switch on the string. Using this node we are able to check that if the string is on low, we can use this output. If it's on medium, this. If it's on high, this output, and this would be the ultra one. So here just change the name of the outputs to the quality settings that we entered in our UI. So here go for low, medium, high, and ultra. So if we set it on low, we wanna get game user settings and set overall scalability level. Here, as you can see, if we set it on 0, it means that the scalability level is on low, 1 is medium, 2 is high, 3 is epic, and 4 is cinematic. So here on low, we want to set it on 0. Then we want to add and apply settings function and connect the return value to the targets. Now we just need to repeat this for the other settings and change the value accordingly. So just copy and paste everything, plug them in, and then change this value to 1. This to 2 and 3 for the ultra. We are not going to use the cinematic settings because it's not going to improve how your project looks significantly, but it will make a huge impact on your performance. So we are just going to use low, medium, high, and epic settings. Compile and play. And now, as you can see, when I change the settings, you can see that the quality of my level will be changed accordingly. For the difficulty, you just need to adjust the variables based on the game you're making. For example, you can increase the damage of the enemies, or you can decrease your player's health based on the difficulty of the game. But here we don't have any games, so we are not going to change anything for the difficulty. And for the gamma, I'm not going to cover it in this video because I want to prevent this tutorial from getting any longer. So if you want to know about this, please let me know in the comments, so I'll cover it in another video. The final part of our job is to program this back button and also this settings button, so our UIs can replace each other and slide in and out of our main canvas. Here we made an animation for this main menu, so when it's added to the main screen, it slides in. We want to do the same for the settings menu. So go to the settings widget and here create an animation and name it settings animation. Then select the grid panel and place it out of the main canvas. Let's set it on 1000 and then add a track for it. In the track, add the transform, and in the translation, just keyframe it here, go to 1 second and set it back on where it was. Yeah, this is the slide. And then in order to play it, go to the graph, and here you have the event construct. Search for play animation and play the animation you made. Now you can see that when the widget is added to the screen, the animation is played. Okay, now let's go back to the level blueprint and put this back on our main menu. So when the level is opened, we see the main menu. What we want to do is to add this setting option, remove this widget and replace it with the settings widget. So here let's go to the main menu widget, select the settings button and add an event on clicked. Here we just wanna create the settings widget. So search for create widget and set it on settings. Add to viewport. And that's it. Now when we hit the settings button, we have our settings menu. But we also want to get rid of this main menu here. So here we can play the animation for our main menu. So just drag in the main menu animation and plug it in, and we wanna play it in reverse, so it goes out of the screen. Yeah. And next we just wanna remove it from parent, so we don't have the main menu anymore. So search for remove from parent. So in order to play the animation, we need to give it some time. Our animation lasts 1 second, so add a delay and set it on 1, so we give it some time to play the animation, and next it will remove the widget, so technically it's not there anymore. And we need to do the same for the settings. So before that, let's play it one more time and see if everything's work right. Yeah, good. Okay, now just go to the settings, and in the designer we need to implement the same system for this back button. Here we did not add a button and it's just a text, so go to the comments tab, and here drag a button here on this horizontal box, and then put the text on top of your button. Now just put the background opacity on 0, and here define an event on unclicked. So here set unclicked, and now we wanna create widget and select the main menu here. Add it to the viewport, and then play the settings animation in reverse. So here add the play animation function, plug this in, and put it on reverse, so it goes out of the screen. Give it a delay and set it on 1 second, so it has some time to play the animation, and then remove it from parent. Alright, let's compile and play. And yeah, it's working perfectly. We can also add this effects that we made for these buttons here for our back button as well. So here go to the designer mode and select the button, then add the sounds. The press sound was click on button cue, and the hovered sound was flashlight switch. Also, let's make an animation for it. So create an animation, name it hover, and select this, and add a track. Then add the color and opacity, and also a transform. For the color, we want to add a keyframe here. Then after half a second, we just want to change the color to our blue and add a keyframe. Alright, And again, for the transform, just add a keyframe, then go forward for half a second and set the scales on 0.9. Actually, the time should be at 0.05, so just reduce the time of the animation so it plays faster. Yeah, and then let's add the events. So select the button and then here the text color is changed to blue, so here just set it back to white and make sure everything is working correctly. And then here just select the button and create an unhovered event. We want to play the animation we made, and on unhovered we want to play it on reverse, so copy and paste and set it on reverse, plug the animation, and then add the unhovered event. Compile and play, and now you can see that we have the effects and it's working properly. However, here we have a bug, and as you can see, when the animation is placed, these options in our combo box menus are messed up. They are misplaced and we need to fix them. The reason is that when we play the animation, the location of these combo boxes are not matched with the canvas and the vertical box we made. So here we need to make some small adjustments to make it work correctly. So go to the designer mode, and here we have this grid box out of the canvas, and when the animation gets played it comes in, but this causes the bug. So instead we are going to place it at the middle of the canvas, and then here in the animations put it here and then put it back to the middle of the canvas. So here just zero out the offset so it's fixed at its location, and then here we want to go from 1000 to 0. So what's happening here is that when this widget is added to the viewport, it goes into this location and then it comes back to our screen. This should fix the bug here for us. Let's compile, play, and now you can see that our combo boxes are working correctly. Alright, we are almost done. The final thing I want to do is to change my cursor to make it look a little more interesting. In order to do that, first we need a PNG file as our mouse cursor. So find whatever you like and then drag it into your contents browser. Next, create a widget blueprint. Name it mouse cursor and open it up. Here just add a canvas panel and then set the size on for example 70 and 70, and next drag in an image. Search for image and drag it on top of the canvas panel. Anchor the image like this on its default, and then set it on 35 and 35. Then here in the brush section, just drag your PNG, and now you can see your cursor. The thing here is that this will function at the middle, meaning that when you click on something, the middle of your canvas panel will give input to the UI. So here let's drag this here so it's at the middle of our canvas and works properly. You can also change the color. For example, here let's set it on blue and compile. Now in order to use it as our cursor, all we need to do is to go to our project settings, and here in the engine section, go to your user interface. Here in the software cursor, just select the widget you made, and that's it. Now you can see that we have our new cursor here. Yeah, we are done. Congratulations, you made it through a 1-hour tutorial, which is not an easy task at all. Everything here is working perfectly. We have the settings, this player option here, this slider, this quality which is completely functional, and the back button and the animations are working perfectly. Yeah, that's it for this video guys, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you learned something new from this, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. That would mean a lot to me. Thank you guys for watching. Catch you later.